It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions.
Touchdown, San Diego!
Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Monday? We do, you do. From the DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, coming off a great sports weekend, we welcome you to our Monday bonus podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host, not in the rain, but in studio, with his opinions from left field, nonetheless, John Riley, and we welcome you to Hacksaw's Headlines. Our podcast is brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, they've got materials, you want ideas, they can help you. Huge sports fans, too. DIXIELINE Lumber. John Riley, good afternoon. Hope you caught your breath. What an unbelievable weekend we had of college football, NFL football. College basketball has now sprung upon us. Man, we're going to go a lot of different directions in the next hour, 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, what, 12 topics on the table. Let's dig in, man.
Okay. Just a quick reminder, we do sports talk the way it should be done. We put, as John would say, topics on the table. We tell you what we think about the stories of today, and then at the end, we open it up for you to join us. We invite you to pile in, pile on, express an opinion. We came up with this right at the onset 3 years ago. We started the podcast. We call it Fans Forum. How does it work?
Get those lines lit. All right. So, hey, if you got a question or comment in the world of sports, just drop your hot take in the live chat. YouTube, X, and Facebook will get you involved in Fans Forum.
We are baseball-centric. We talk an absolute ton of Major League Baseball, so that will be topic one today. And this story is not going away, the story that broke a week ago, because there's always new angles and dimensions to the stories. We're talking Padre baseball. Go ahead, your first question.
Yeah, the first question here, for sale sign. The fans are kind of getting bent out of shape, Lee?
Yeah, they really are. Let me walk through a whole bunch of background that I've dug up since we talked to you last Thursday, the aftermath of the Seidler family announcing the Padres are going to be put up for sale. I just have one word. Why? That's the only word I can use to express my sentiment at this hour. Why? Why are the Seidlers stepping away from baseball? You know, they made the announcement 48 hours after USA Today broke the story the Padres had cash flow problems. They made the announcement 24 months after Peter Seidler passed away, almost 2 years to the day of Peter's passing, after spending 24 months telling us they were going to continue the legacy of Peter Seidler going forward, family committed to own the team. They made the announcement 2 days after the street sign ceremony honoring Peter Seidler and his memory right outside Petco Park. Padres have $450 million in total debt. Padres have $981 million in contractual commitments to their top 7 players going forward. I think the Seidler family understands the economics of the game. There is uncertainty about what 2027 might look like, and they might be on the hook for salaries. And I think the more realistic thing is they've tapped out this market. They have taken as much money as they can out of the San Diego market in terms of ticket revenue, advertising revenue, sponsorship, sales, etc. I don't think the Padres ever recovered from the loss of their TV contract. Remember, they had a $60 million a year TV deal from Bally Sports. Regional sports networks started to collapse. They threw their lot in with Major League Baseball, let them produce it, got some money from MLB. I was told they're getting less than $30 million rights fees. And it's just not in San Diego. A lot of other people, the Minnesotas, the Pittsburghs, Colorados of the world, all got the same problem when they got hurt by the regional sports network. I think there's also a reality that this leadership has allowed that general manager, A.J. Preller, to buy on a credit card for years upon years, and they keep buying on the credit card, but the bill has come due. They're facing deficits. They don't want to face any more cash calls. And I think the bottom line emotionally was Peter Seidler was a baseball man. The brothers, and to a degree the wife, have no knowledge of the business of baseball and don't want to be on the hook for the massive box of financial things they would be accountable for if they were continuing to go on. I said on KUSI on Saturday morning in my sports commentary segment, they have every right to sell the team. I wish they weren't, but they have every right to do it. And they might get a sales price of $2 billion. But somebody from the outside looking at the market, they'll see the financials. They'll see the $981 million in contractual commitments to the top 7 players going forward. They know how much money's been taken out of the market in terms of what they've charged to do business with Padre baseball. They know about the loss of the TV contract. So any prospective owner understands the economics of where the Padres are. The fans don't. And fans have really been harsh on social media. Now, you can slough that off and say, fine, that's just an odd crackpot opinion. But amongst the most tainted things the fans on social media said in this last week, the Seidler brothers are acting like they were born on third base, like they're entitled to do what they want to do. The family has lost its trust in the community in terms of the way they've led this franchise recently. Seidlers equal profiteers. Don't ever use the word Seidler legacy going forward. So fans are really upset. There's a great unknown out there. My right hand is of the opinion there will be money people who will come front and center and put in a bid on this franchise. Guys that have owned other franchises, guys that have wanted to be in Major League Baseball, they see the dynamics of the marketplace. There might be a $2 billion offer out there from somebody with deep financial pockets. That's what the right hand says, but the left hand is of the opinion everybody sees in baseball the financials and knows where the Padres are financially and what they have spent, what they're on the books for, and how much less they're going to be able to extract out of the community because the community might be financially tapped out. So, John, the only thing I want to know from the Seidlers, and I got great respect for everything they've done. I had a great relationship with Peter. I have a strong relationship with Tom. I don't know the other brothers. But the only thing I can ask is, why? Shouldn't we have an explanation why you want to sell the franchise at this point, 2 years in, having given us 5 years of really good baseball? So I've given you a lot of different angles. John, step up to the podium, hit a home run here for me.
What is this, like a hit job on the Seidlers, man?
Well, the fans are, not me.
Yeah, I mean, the way what you read there, I mean, by the fans was just awful. And I'm thinking, we had the greatest, it's a shame, by the way, they're the greatest era in Padre baseball, and we still don't have a ring. But this has been a great time. The Seidlers have been wonderful. So, is the market tapped out? No, not at all, Lee. I mean, they sold out, 72 out of 82 games? I mean, that's telling you that they're having to cut people off at the turnstile, because they could raise ticket prices even more and maximize more revenue. Is there a better TV contract out there? Probably. They had to do the one with MLB, which was probably not as elegant as it could be with, if you had your own network. I mean, there's still a lot of other possibilities. And I don't even know, how much has the business operation of Padre Baseball leveraged Baja California? Is there a lot more upside down there? Could be. But, as far as I'm concerned, they're not extracting money away from people. You sound like the tax man. What they are is just trading, and they're providing an entertaining product on the field, and fans are showing up to Petco, or they're paying for their subscription for Padres TV. People love the team here, man.
So do you think it's the uncertainty of new owner, considering we know what Peter Seidler and his legacy have given us for 5 years? Do you think it's the uncertainty of here we go again? Or are fans just not paying attention to what could happen because we have now seen what a proven market this could be?
Well, fans righteously should be a little nervous because of the history. But if this is selling for over $2 billion, this franchise, it's not like you're going to get some Yahoo and his, 10 buddies that are going to want to put it on a layaway plan.
Tom Warner.
Yeah. Or what was the guy, Jeff Morat? You're going to be attracting some of those names that you've mentioned in the past, Bezos and Ballmer and Cuban, that are not only billionaires, but are also sports fans, because being an owner of a sports franchise kind of makes you even more of a celebrity than you already are. So my instinct tells me we're not going to have like some greedy owner that's going to penny pinch. And I think we're going to I think the potential for a even better owner is greater than having a worse one.
Okay, so let's go back to my original opening comment. One word. Why? Why are they selling the franchise?
Well, I don't know. Do they necessarily need to explain themselves? I mean, when you sell your car or your house, do you have to tell the community why? We're curious. I mean, I think you mentioned that John Seidler's not a baseball guy. My hunch is that he's got obviously assets. That's what the whole Seidler group is asset management, and they're maximizing the value of what they own. And they probably are looking at a baseball team and saying, I can get better return on investment if I'm putting my money into these infrastructure projects or whatever they're working on. And, he's probably thinking, I don't want to dig in my pocket to have to subsidize what should be an asset returning value. So he's probably thinking, I'll just put my money elsewhere. And I don't blame him for that. But, of course he has a right. I mean, why would he not? We're just a little bit nervous because we don't know what we're going to get.
Okay. You got an opinion. We've given you a lot of different financial data as to why I think this is happening. I would like an explanation. Please answer why this is happening. Fans Forum chat box is open. Fill it up. Padre fans invited to join the conversation. We go from off the field at Petco Park to on the field, Padre baseball, and next year at Petco Park.
Help wanted pitching.
Padres are talking to everybody. Padres have a limited package financially that they can offer because there's big pay hikes for a couple of their established stars that start to kick in. I perceive that they may have a total of about $30 million that's available to go get help outside. Help in the starting rotation and some type of power hitter, first base, or left field. Interesting names that are being floated from the national media. The Padres have been in contact with ex-Dodger pitcher Dustin May.
Hey.
He's affordable, 3.86 career ERA. He's had 2 surgeries. End of the season, Boston, he pitched okay, then they let him go. They're also talking about the potential of a trade with the Cubs. They've made deals with the Cubs in the past. Reliever who could be a starter again, Brad Keller. Interesting name. This would be a 1-year rental. Guy had a miserable start to the season. At one point was 0-9, but really finished strong. The back half of the schedule, still got gas left in the tank. Justin Verlander.
Oh, my God.
Interesting name there. Concern. Report over the weekend that the Cubs are moving on Michael King. And they're willing to give him what he wants, which would be 3 years, maybe as much as $60 million. Houston has been in conversation with Dylan Cease. You wonder if that's going to happen. And Milwaukee's trying hard to re-sign Brandon Woodruff, who they gave the qualifying offer to for a base salary of $22 million. So the Padres are searching out there. And that does not include what's gone on in Japan, where they are talking to Tatu Imii. At this point in time, everybody's talking to him. I don't think the Padres are in on Shoto Imanaga. There's an age injury there. There's an injury issue there. I think they've backed away from the Japanese left-hander from the Cubs. So, anyhow, that's the latest list of names. They need 2 starting pitchers, and they need some sort of power bat at first base or in left field. John, what do you think about the names that I just floated out there that they've had conversations with?
Well, first of all, I think the Japanese pitcher's last name is Imai. I think that's how we pronounce it. And he does look like a very intriguing guy to get. All those names, I mean, the Dustin May name, I had no idea that he was going to be a free agent. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, before his last arm surgery, he was amazing. Yep. So can he rediscover it? You know, I mean, I don't know. I like the idea of what's the kid that Morgan, you know, maybe making him a starter. I think that's something worthy of exploration. You know, Verlander might be worth signing just strictly so we could have Kate Upton sightings at Petco Park. That might be worth it. But how old is he? He's like 42?
42, and he was 0-9 at one point, and he finished with an ERA like 3.50 the back half of the season.
Oh, that's like top 3 for our starters. Yeah. And then, you know, you mentioned Michael King is getting offers, and I imagine he will. He's a very eligible prospect out there on the market. I mean, yeah, I think he's going to maybe get a deal he'll be able to turn down the qualifying offer.
Okay, that's all things Padres. We put new names up there. We're going to continue to dig every week as we go towards the winter baseball meetings. You're a Padre fan, your reaction to the laundry list of names that are out there. We go from Padre baseball, let's talk Dodger baseball.
Dodger baseball, trades and free agency.
The Dodgers have continued their trade conversations with Cleveland about left fielder Stephen Kwan. 280 lifetime hitter, tremendous speed, great glove, some power. Cleveland's not going to re-sign him. Doesn't feel they want to pay that kind of money to anybody. That's the way Cleveland has done its business. The most unique aspect of the conversations, according to my contacts in Cleveland, are that the Gladiators, a.k.a. my Indians, are looking for 3-for-1 for Kwan. That's a pretty steep price.
Gladiators?
I mean, Guardians.
Sorry.
That's okay. I wear these glasses. My brain doesn't work very well. Anyhow, the Guardians, a.k.a. my Indians, are looking 3-for-1. That's an awful steep price. However, the Dodgers have got 2 tremendous young Double-A outfielders. I was told one of them has to be in the deal, DePaula or Hope. They've obviously got a load of young Triple-A pitching, led by Landon Knack, Bobby Miller, River Ryan, and Gavin Stone. They've got pitchers up top that are coming off surgeries. Suddenly, people are calling and inquiring on Bruised Dog Adderall. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the price tag is. Many people had thought it was a lock they would sign Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker is represented by...
Is it Boris? People are questioning that online, Lee.
Well, that's what I was told. And the problem is they got stung last year because they signed a Boris contract, a.k.a. Michael Conforto. That was $17 million they could have given to me.
They should have.
So that's where the Dodgers are. They might not be going back towards Boris at this point in time. And, of course, they're having dialogue with all the marquee relievers out there. The latest one that they've met is Raisel Iglesias, who's been around the league a lot. This guy's got 240 career saves, though. Pitched for Atlanta last season. He's available. Devin Williams, ex-Milwaukee, is available. Robert Suarez, Padres, is available. Peter Fairbanks, ex-Tampa, is available. But evidently, they're going to make a trade to try to find a left fielder if it's not Tucker. And Kwan seems to be the guy, and they have what Cleveland wants. So keep an eye on that situation. We're not done with baseball. We got other topics here. Let's peek into the notebook, John.
Okay, yeah, we got to talk a little bit about the Rockies, the Cardinals, and the Nationals.
I've always had this philosophy that when you play in a unique stadium, you want to comprise a batting order that fits that stadium. Paul DePodesta has just taken over as the president of baseball operations in Colorado, and he said all the right things. We're going to change the culture of the team, the organization, the clubhouse, and the culture of the roster. He's going to meet this week with Chris Bryant. I don't think Chris Bryant will ever play baseball again. Oh. That's $172 million the Rockies gave him, and he broke down, and he's had just chronic back problems, have not been able to get him healthy with all the multiple surgeries. Sources say they have made contact with this guy who would be quite a fit, I think, at Coors Field. Muntaka Murakami, Japan. 277 home runs. Can play third base. That would be the replacement for Chris Bryant. Murakami strikes out a bunch, 26% of the time. Guy's hit for average, 277 bombs. Home run hitter, Coors Field. Yeah, that kind of connects the dots, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
So that's an interesting story there. Cardinals, evidently new leadership. John Mozeliak has retired. Chaim Bloom comes from Boston, Tampa Bay. They're going to rebuild it with young players. They have announced this weekend that they are going to pay a piece of the salaries to trade Nolan Arenado, Sonny Gray, and Brendan Donovan. Those are three of their top players. All got big money contracts. They're going to pay a chunk of Arenado's, I think it's $24 million a year deal going out. And they want young players back, multiples. They might want as many as 7 young players in those 3 transactions. So keep an eye on that. Washington, I don't understand this at all. I mean, ownership has these cornerstone young players, the James Woods of the world. Why are you shopping and wanting to trade Mackenzie Gore, even though he's got a year left before free agency? Why would you ever put C.J. Abrams on the trade block? But that's the story out of D.C. They are talking extensively to the Red Sox about Mackenzie Gore, and the feel is they could get 2 for 1 or 3 for 1. And Boston is really deep in a lot of good young everyday players at the top and young everyday players at AAA. But why would you trade your core at this point in time when you're maybe just a couple of players away from being real good? But that's what's going on in Washington. So you want to talk home runs, Coors Field, kids in St. Louis, or why is Washington doing what Washington's doing?
I was intrigued in your best 15, I think it was this morning's, where you talked about Paul DePodesta and what he's going to be doing for the Rockies. Can you break that down again?
He says we're going to change the culture of the organization. They fired all their pitching coaches at every level over the weekend. They're going to bring in DePodesta type people to run the farm system.
Wow.
Got to hire a general manager. That's going to happen pretty quick, maybe before the winter baseball meetings in 2 weeks. I don't think they're going to hire a manager at this point because he's got other things to do. And he's obviously got to change the culture of the roster, going to change the culture of the clubhouse. They got to find pitching. That's item 1. But the quickest way is go to Japan. All you're doing is writing a check. You're not trading away your top young players. So this Japanese slugger, Murakami, this guy hit 56 home runs 2 years ago in Japan. He's got 277 career bombs, but he strikes out a lot. But you think about power hitter, Coors Field, makes sense.
Blake Street Bombers, isn't that what they used to call him back there? Andre Galarraga and Dante Bichette and all them.
Good call.
Yeah, so it'd be great to have that franchise has been in the dumps forever. It'd be good to have them come back. I like the whole strategy. The Cardinals is interesting to me. You know, it's always had the Cardinal way. They were such a superior organization.
Yep.
You know, and they would always never have to do like a fire sale. You know, they would always have really good talent,
coming up,
fill that roster. You know, they always went with a couple of rookies and they always panned out. But now it looks like they want to just get, they want to pay money to kick Arenado out the door, and then they want to get prospects back. So it's like the whole farm system must have been dried out too.
Yeah, exactly. So it'd be interesting. It's a very interesting winter baseball meetings just around the corner. So you're a baseball fan. You want to comment on what I had to say about the Dodgers, what we just touched bases on, Baseball Notebook. Jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open. A lot of baseball on this show. We are baseball-centric. We want to hear from you. We cover the NFL because the NFL is really big on the West Coast and Southern California. Let's start with what happened yesterday. Wow.
Trap game, crap game.
Oh, John, that's rather cruel. Jim Harbaugh won't be sending you a Christmas card.
Brutal.
Jacksonville buries the Chargers 35-6. They got trashed in the trenches. Harbaugh got outcoached. What Liam Cohen did with formations, motions, misdirection, they killed the Chargers. Trevor Lawrence only had 153 yards passing. The running backs ran for almost 200 in that game. And if you watch that game closely, you watched a lot of misdirection with guys in motion, reverse handoffs, cutbacks. It was a phenomenal performance of execution by the Jaguars. Justin Herbert, injury waiting to happen. He had 81 yards passing in that game yesterday, which is really hard to believe. 2 sacks, 6 hits, 11 pressures, an interception, and he got pancaked. His offensive line was deplorable. In fact, it was so bad, they benched the starting left tackle, they benched the starting right guard, and if they had anybody else, they would have benched the right tackle. It was just brutal. Jacksonville had 345 yards of ball possession to the Chargers' 135 yards in offense. Who would ever think Justin Herbert would throw for 81 in a game and the team would have 135? Jacksonville had 30 first downs. The Chargers had 8. Jaguars had 38 minutes time of possession. I mean, it was awful. And one of my phrases the last 3 weeks now was Justin Herbert, injury waiting to happen. And he got killed. I didn't think it was a cheap shot hit, but it was a pancake hit, and it hit him right here. I was surprised he got up, and he hardly played after that, and they finally pulled him at the start of the fourth quarter. So this team, it only counts as 1 loss. I understand that. Thank God they're on a bye week because they crawled home, and they'll be off next week. But what's still to come coming off the bye week?
Oh, you listed it.
At Philadelphia. Oh, I'm sure they get Philadelphia here. At Dallas. At Kansas City. At Denver.
Good luck.
With that offensive line? Oh, my goodness. So Chargers, it was just miserable. And I thought they'd beat Jacksonville because Jacksonville has really skidded since the start. And Jacksonville got murdered the week before in Houston, blew the big lead. This was terrible. And, I mean, it is the all-time worst loss that Harbaugh has had in his coaching career.
Really?
So, covers a lot of ground here. That's cruel. That's a terrible headline. Harbaugh finds out about that, you're in trouble. Go ahead.
That was a hard game to watch.
Oh.
I mean, and what's the deal? The Jaguars have the Chargers number. I mean, I go back to the playoff game a few years ago.
In Jayville, exactly.
You know? So it was interesting also watching that game because you can see the stadium, and it definitely looks like an old college stadium. You know, it's not like a real legit NFL stadium. But, yeah, that was just fugly, the whole thing. And when Herbert got pancaked, I was thinking about you know, because you've been saying he's got injury waiting to happen, and somehow he keeps getting up. He's like this, robot that you can't shake him.
He didn't get up real quick. He didn't get up looking good either.
No. Well, yeah, I mean, by that time the game was out of hand anyways.
They took him to the tent for concussion.
Unbelievable. So, I mean, that guy is a beast for hanging in there. But when you don't have your bookend tackles, you're toast. I mean, they don't have a chance with that line.
They have now gone through 4 left tackles and 3 right tackles.
Oh, my God.
And we're only at the midway point of the season. And the guys they have now can't play. And it's obvious to me that Becton can't play because they pulled him from the game again.
Got to give Courtney Hall a call. Get some of these old-time Chargers back.
The late Courtney Hall. Great gentleman. So anyhow, you're a Charger fan. You saw this. Is this as bad as I think it is? I mean, and we had such expectations with all that firepower, with the running game, with the quarterback, 3 number ones in the offensive front. And look what it's degenerated into. Charger fans forum chat box is open. Feel free to make a comment. We go from that. Scoreboard, baby. Let's talk about big games around the league. It was an interesting week of really tough games.
Oh, yeah. Some big-time games. Got some NFL shootouts.
Shootouts, pressure-packed games. That's all I could think of by the time I got to the finish line last night. I was so exhausted. I watched every one of those big games. Denver beats Kansas City at Mile High, 22-19. Mahomes throws for 276. He has no running game at all, and that is growing as a big problem. Bo Nix creates and throws for 295. The defense had 3 sacks of Mahomes plus an interception. It wasn't sexy. It was a field goal game, but Will Lutz hit critical field goals at the end of the game. Denver is 9-2. Can you believe Denver is 9-2? Kansas City is 5-5, and as we had breakfast this morning, they're not in anybody's playoff picture at this point in time. And Sean Payton's got the Broncos believing they've won 8 in a row. So you got Denver beating Kansas City. Rams won. It was ugly. Their defense saved the day. They beat Seattle 21-19. Rams defense had 4 interceptions of Sam Darnold. They came after him. He put the ball into coverage. He got picked. Darnold finished with 273. It was weird. Matthew Stafford only threw for 130 in the game, and they ran for just a shade over 100, but they kept getting the ball in good field position because of the picks. And then Seattle missed a 61-yard field goal on the final play of the game. Rams are sitting there at 8-2. And for the first time, the national media is of the opinion this might be a Super Bowl team. So Seattle could have won it, but 4 interceptions killed them. Detroit, Philadelphia. There's 2 ways to look at this. The Eagles have really started to come together, and they punched Detroit in the mouth. And nobody does that to a Dan Campbell team, but they did. So I'm going to ask you this. Philadelphia's play at the line of scrimmage with all those big bodies and what they're getting from their back 7. The Lions went for it 5 times on 4th down last night. They were 0 for 5. So Dan Campbell, too smart? I mean, he left a lot of points on the board, could have had a pile of field goals, and he wound up losing that game, 16-9. But Philadelphia just stood there and took it and then gave it back. Jalen Hurts looks good. How bad was it for Jared Goff? And Jared Goff had a quarterback rating going into the game, John, of 117. Jared Goff in the second half last night was 2 for 18 throwing the football. Brutal. It was under siege along the way. It was an amazing game. So Philadelphia gave Detroit a taste of their own medicine. Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Josh Allen, 44-22 win. Josh Allen, 6 touchdowns in the game, ties an all-time NFL record quarterback. Threw for 357, threw for 3, ran for 3. Tampa just does not have enough players. Baker Mayfield, he's been doing it. He's been carrying it himself all the season, but it caught up to him. Buffalo, coming off the crap loss in Miami, comes back with a vengeance. Home win. Josh Allen, 6 freaking touchdowns. What an amazing thing. So go ahead. You want to talk about the Broncos? Statement game by the Rams defense. Dan Campbell, too smart a guy. Talk about Buffalo. Go ahead.
You know, that Chiefs-Broncos game was fun to watch. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, we talked about this, I think, at the beginning of the season, is that Bo Nix reminds you an awful lot of Drew Brees, don't you think?
Yes.
I mean, just the way he moves in the pocket, the decision-making, he's not a sensational athlete, but he's accurate. He throws the ball well, and the leadership's there for a young man, so I'm happy. And it's kind of nice also that, there's a new leader in the AFC West. It's been Chiefs, so the Broncos are breaking through. That L.A. Rams game was just crazy. I mean, just the way that thing was, all the points that were scored, Seattle missing it on a field goal was 61 yards or something like that. These days, that's like a chip shot, the way the kickers are going. But, yeah, that was a tough one.
He kicked it long enough. He just kicked it to the right of the upright. He had distance to get it over, but it was here.
Yeah, what's your take on that? I mean, how are kickers suddenly getting a lot more distance these days?
Well, the K-balls are different, and you can treat the K-balls now different. The new rule that they put into effect this year, that's why these guys are kicking 60-yard field goals, is each team gets access to 3 K-balls before the game, and they can treat them, massage them, whatever, and get them ready for your kicker to use. Because on the field goal, the K-ball comes in from your sideline. It's your ball.
Okay, I can see how that can make a difference.
And it's made a huge difference this year.
Okay, interesting. Okay, the Jared Goff and the Lions and Dan Campbell, I'm thinking of that. I mean, you don't try to do like a 4th down, with Jalen Carter on the defensive line.
Yeah. I
mean, that guy is just he's impenetrable force.
Those 2 tackles are just monstrously big.
Yeah, see, this is the wrong team to get kind of, a little bit cute there, Dan Campbell. I'm just wondering if he was just trying to force his agenda, think he can outsmart him. But that was another tough game to watch because there was just the defense was ferocious. And then finally, Josh Allen had a day. But wasn't it weird kind of seeing Baker Mayfield didn't have the beard? It just kind of looked like a different guy.
Well, the team is different. I mean, and he's had a good season, and he's really become a folk hero in Tampa. But they got so many – all their skill guys are out with injuries. So it's kind of caught up to them. Tampa's lost a little bit of its zest, its zoom, its panache in the last 3-4 weeks or so. So those are the big games around the NFL. Do you want to comment? Changing of the guard in the AFC? Or doesn't it matter? Maybe I should throw this at you. Doesn't it matter, because if we just get to the playoffs, then Andy Reid can be Andy Reid, whether they have to go in as a wild card and win on the road. But they are 5-5. They really are on the outside looking in.
Yeah, well, I saw that where they were in the outside looking in, and then you saw the Chargers there at 7-4, and you're thinking, I don't know how long they're going to stay in that wild card slot.
Well, look at that schedule.
Yeah, so I think you could see the Chiefs and Chargers maybe flip-flopping.
Okay, we got news and notes from around the NFL. A couple of other tidbits here, John.
Yeah, tidbits. We'll start with the Raiders.
Silver and black, here to be known as the silver and bleak. They play tonight. The Raiders just don't have enough players. I had an NFL scout tell me today the Raiders roster now is worse than the Raiders roster that Pete Carroll inherited, that they made so many changes. They've signed so many older players who can't play any longer. Geno Smith has regressed. Offensive line is an absolute mess by virtue of the injury to Colton Miller. Ashton Genty has had a lost season at running back. They traded away Jacoby Myers. They've got obviously a great tight end. They have no back seven on defense. The Raiders are just a disaster. And here's another story, line that kind of connects to that. Chip Kelly, get this. He's being paid $6 million a year. Highest paid coordinator in the NFL.
For what?
For this. His offense, in every offensive category, and I get the packet every week from the league, his offense is ranked anywhere from 27th to 30th in every category. That's scoring, that's passing yardage, that's red zone, that's total offense. $6 million a year. And do you know, get this, the teams that he has coached and been coordinator for in the last group of years, combined record 4-20 with his X's and O's.
Yeah.
He
keeps getting sweet gigs.
Past tense. Just awful story. Silver and black is now the silver and bleak. Pittsburgh, we're waiting medical report. They fear that Aaron Rodgers has a fractured left wrist. He was scrambling late in the second quarter, got hit, was going down, put his left hand out to break it, snapped his wrist. Might be a fracture. So that might open the door for the draft pick Will Howard of Ohio State, or maybe they go back to Mason Rudolph, who managed the game well through a touchdown Pittsburgh's win over Cincinnati yesterday. Green Bay, they did not get out alive, and the injuries are starting to pile up. Packers really struggled. Jordan Love left the game with a shoulder injury, left shoulder luckily, came back. Josh Jacobs taken out of the game, knee injury, might be a sprained ligament. They do not believe there's a ligament tear. Of course, they don't have their tight end. Tucker Kraft, who got hurt the week prior, gone for the year. They got 3 other wide receivers hurt. Suddenly, Green Bay's got layers of injuries here that are really hurting the team. Cleveland, amazing. Dylan Gabriel gets nailed, comes out of the game with a concussion. I look down the bench, and who's left on the bench? Shedeur Sanders. So Shedur's always wanted this chance. The whole world's wanted Shedeur to have this chance. Dad Dion's wanted the kid to have the chance. Kid goes in, goes 4 for 16. Interception, fumble, 2 sacks. Overwhelmed. Might have to be the starting quarterback next week if Gabriel cannot get out of concussion protocol. So it's his chance. He's practiced. I think there's a reason he has not played and been listed where he is on the depth chart, because those coaches are with him every minute of every day, and he's not ready. You know, he ran a junk offense at Colorado, the St. Jackson State pal. Now he may be your quarterback. I feel bad for Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett had 4 more sacks yesterday, and they lost. And lost badly. And they got pasted. So, I mean, the whole Cleveland situation is just an absolute fiasco. But Shedeur Sanders might be their guy. Couple other notes just broke. Michael Penix, bright young quarterback at Atlanta Falcons, torn knee ligament.
No way.
He went down yesterday, first half. Kirk Cousins has to be the starter the rest of the season. That's a terrible story. It's the third time he's had an ACL tear in his career. He had multiples at Indiana and at Washington, and now this one with the Atlanta Falcons. Tough blow there. So those are storylines around the NFL. If you want to talk about the silver and bleak, feel free.
You know, I was thinking about, I said earlier how the Broncos are maybe an end of an era for the Chiefs in the AFC West. And all those teams have bounced around, but not the Raiders. The Raiders have been at the bottom of the AFC West forever. And you think, God, at some point they're going to cycle back up, and they never do. And we had so much optimism this year. What the hell happened?
Well, Geno Smith regressed. Lost the left tackle, Colton Miller. They've never had really enough wide receivers. Brock Bowers got hurt. He's got a knee injury, although he's come back and caught a pile of passes. Offensive line's just been a disaster. So on the offensive side of the football, that's a problem. Defensively, remember the name Christian Wilkins?
Oh, yeah.
Big defensive tackle they gave a lot of money to. Mm-hmm. He got hurt. Malingerer. They released him. Nobody's touched him. Max Crosby's had knee injuries 2 years in a row, though he's playing hard and playing well. And we got to the offseason in free agency, and they lost all their marquee young guys that they were developing on the back seven, linebackers, corners, and safeties, all in other places. I mean, I was really stunned how many guys left. I thought Pete Carroll would have been able to keep some of these guys. And instead, Pete had to go out in the marketplace once the free agent window opened, and these guys started jumping ship. They started to sign older veterans who had played for Pete other places. These guys they can't play. So the Raiders, they're 2-7 right now, and they play Dak Prescott and the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. And like I said, I had an NFL scout tell me this morning their roster now is worse now than the roster they inherited when Tom Brady came in and they hired Pete Carroll.
Well, especially if all their young talent has been getting injured.
Yep.
I mean, it may be Ashton Genty's the next injury waiting to happen. But, they have the right leadership, right? I mean, they got the new GM from Tampa. Tom Brady is, in a lot of these meetings. Pete Carroll's, a very competent, intelligent guy that can help lead. It's not Mark Davis calling the shots as much, right? Isn't he kind of relinquished a little control?
But you can't fix what's been wrong. I mean, they didn't get bad in 15 minutes. So 1 year of Tom Brady with Pete Carroll is not going to flip it. But then they got there and they lost so many players. God, it looks like a freaking expansion team.
One step back, two step forward, maybe? We're in the back step right now, I think.
No, I think one step forward, two steps back, the way the thing is constructed.
Oh, well, now how it's turning out, yeah.
Not good.
And then what do you think, Mason Rudolph era in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I would think so, because I don't think Will Howard's ready. But Mason Rudolph's been there for a chunk of time. But he played at Oklahoma State. He was very trustworthy.
Yeah.
Does he win a lot of games for you? No, but he doesn't screw a lot of games up. So
wasn't he the guy that Myles Garrett body slammed that one time in a game?
He ripped his helmet off.
That's the one. Yeah. That's So but
Pittsburgh's going to try to live off their defense and their pedestrian offense, and I don't think they go very far in the playoffs. We'll find out what the medical report is, but there was a fear that Aaron Rodgers might have a bit of a chip fracture. But again, you can. It's his left hand. Maybe he can play with some sort of cast.
As you get older, your bones get a little more brittle.
Why you're looking at me that way, as if I don't know that.
And Shedeur, give him a week, give him time to prepare. He was probably just overwhelmed emotionally by all that. There's been so much expectation around him, and he's all of a sudden unexpectedly put in the game. Let's give him another week before we write him off.
This ain't Jackson State, pal.
Oh, hey, no way. No way.
Okay, news and notes around the NFL. We get to halftime. You got a comment? Feel free. Fans Forum chat box is open. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. They're known for a lot of things. Been in the industry for over 100 years, obviously. When it comes to lumber, this is their calling card in their business. But they do a lot of other unique things. They do doors. They do windows. They obviously are involved with patios and swimming pools. And they have the tool section of all their stores, which is unbelievable. John can talk to this. For the guy that's a home fix-it guy, the guy that likes to do projects at home.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this is a great place for the do-it-yourselfer. You want to be like the guy on the home improvement TV show, and have the really great workbench and all the tools, the pegboard with all your hand tools all displayed. So they've got all that gear there, plus a professional place for pro contractors and for builders as well as homeowners. I mean, they do double duty, the folks at DIXIELINE. And, for outdoor decking, fantastic people. Been in San Diego for 100 years.
DIXIELINE Lumber Home Centers. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things they have to offer. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber. Couple of notes when we're done, because we do sports talk the way it should be done with topics on the table. When we're done with this podcast, you get the invitation to take over this podcast. You become the co-host. It's called Fans Forum. John, for all the new people that are just joining us, how does Fans Forum work? How can they get actively involved?
It's going crazy right now, Lee. The names, people talking about the Padres and the for sale and who's pitching. They're talking about the Rams and the Seahawks, Charger talk in here, Raider talk. So, hey, if you got a question or comment, we're going to try to squeeze everyone in. Drop your hot take in the live chat, YouTube, X, or Facebook. Will get you involved in Fans Forum.
A couple of other business items. I write about sports every day of the week. Please check my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. When you're done with the podcast, go to the website. You won't believe the volume of information, because I have a baseball page, a football page. I cover the NBA. I cover all things NHL. I have another page that covers all the other sports, auto racing, golf, tennis, whatever it is. LeeHacksawHamilton.com. When you're on that, you can also register to join Hacksaw's Insiders Group. Right on the homepage, there's an orange box. Fill it out. You get on our email list. We send out 2 private emails a day to everybody on the Insiders Group. You won't believe that information we have. Want you to share. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe on the YouTube channel, you will get the alert, ding, 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 every time we put new videos up on the YouTube channel, and we do that quite often during the course of the week. Want you to join my Twitter All-Star team on X. Just go to X, type in my name, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, hit the follow button, then you can join me in the Hacksaw mini polls that I post every night. We're everywhere. John's got this content everywhere. John just told me he does all the research on this. This is all beyond me. I do the topics on the table. John does all the other stuff. Our podcast this past Thursday, by the time we got done with everything we do, the podcast, the commentaries, the additional videos and stuff, we had over 10,000 hits since last Thursday.
It's way over that, actually. Yeah. I mean, the last our numbers are way more than that. I don't want to go into all the detail of the analytics.
But anyhow.
But it's all good. I mean, the audience, thank you. I mean, you guys are helping make it a success.
It's all your fault.
And all the numbers are going up. You're a blowtorch signal of sports commentary. So just keep bringing it and the fans will show up.
Good deal. But anyhow, that's how to follow us. Hope you'll join us on every platform. And help us a great deal. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the follow button. Give us a 5-star rating. You don't know how much that helps us with the growth of this podcast. Okay, we go to the second half because we've covered baseball. We covered the NFL. Let's talk college football.
College football. We had games in the rain here. Aztecs, Trojans, and the Bruins.
It was a slog. It was a slugfest. How about San Diego State punching Boise State in the mouth? I went to Sean Lewis's press conference today. And I always ask the first tough guy question. I said, is it true that the last page of your playbook, you had something resembling single wing running formations? Aztecs had 277 yards rushing in that game. And man, they took the heart out of Boise State. Jaden Denagle did not do well, but they couldn't throw the football because it was raining so hard. He only threw for 17 yards. It was really impressive what San Diego State has done. They are right on the doorstep of being 10-2. Think about that.
Yeah.
Considering where they were the last night of last season at 3-9 and losing players. They have the potential to be 10-2. Here's the other piece of the equation. A year from now, they're going to be in the newly constructed Pac-12. Oregon State, Washington State, and everybody who's coming from the Mountain West. If San Diego State is the elite team in the Mountain West this year at 10-2 and go to the championship game. They'll be the elite team when the Pac-12 season opens next year with the reconstructed league. And they might have a better football program than virtually anybody else in the new look Pac-12, which would mean if they can duplicate this next year because the foundation's been laid, 10-2 is a hell of a turnaround. If they lay that foundation this year and they can carry forward with it next year, the winner of the new look Pac-12 automatically qualifies for a shot in the college football playoffs. Think about where they are, who is going to follow them into the new conference, where they stand from a football standpoint. So, I'll tell you, the arrow's pointed up. San Diego, are you paying attention to any of this? What that coach has done and accomplished? Feel free. Jump on board Fans Forum chat box. Let's talk about USC. Got to find a way to win. They were down at home in the rain to Iowa 21-7, and they came back. They scored 5 possessions in a row against the Hawkeyes, posted the victory. Jaden Mayava threw for 254, and the defense played much better football. They scored 5 possessions in a row against tough guy Iowa Hawkeyes. UCLA, got killed at Ohio State. What made it worse was Nico Iamaleava, the quarterback, woke up with headaches on Wednesday. Suddenly, he's in concussion protocol, so they had to go with an untested quarterback. Ohio State piled up 440 yards in that win against UCLA. Julian Sayin threw for another 80 and more touchdown passes. Buckeyes look untouchable right now. And UCLA looks unfathomably bad. So you want to comment? Aztecs, Southern Cal, Bruins.
So you had mentioned this before we got started today, that the new Pac-12 is going to be a Power 5 conference that will be, baked into the
college football playoff structure.
See, I didn't realize that. I thought that they were going to be like a group of 6. Nope. They were going to be mixed in with the MAC and everything. So this is good news. And to your point, and if the Aztecs could be the champion of this conference, then
pick up the flag and go across the street to the new conference, follow me, and you look at what is in that conference now, there's nothing there in terms of football.
Yeah. Of course, there's Boise State. There's nothing, compared to the other teams in that conference, the Aztecs would certainly have a leg up. So, hey, that's promise. That's a leapfrog. This is how this Pac-12 thing could be a better deal, more than just a Mountain West 2.0. But that game itself, good on the boys for taking care of business. It was a little bit, not sexy to watch the game, but, they got the business done.
It was a slog.
Yeah, it was. And it wasn't as much rain as I think we all thought there was going to be, but, good on them. SC in the rain as well. Iowa's always a tough call. And then when UCLA was going to play in Columbus in the Horseshoe, that's probably what Iamaleava was probably had a headache about, thinking about what was going to happen. That was going to be a beatdown. And Ohio State is dominant unless maybe Indiana surprises them.
No, that'll be in the Big Ten championship game a couple weeks out from now. That'll be worth watching. So I'm just asking the question. San Diego State, fan, friend, alum. Are you paying attention to what's going on Montezuma Mesa? I didn't think they could ever be 10-2 like this. Hell, they might be 10-2 by the time we get to the finish line. What do you think about that? Okay, we go from that to what's gone on around the country. Let's take a look at the scoreboard in college football.
And here we go. Oh, we're just talking about IU.
Indiana just slugging people. Fernando Mendoza throws for almost 300 yards, 4 more touchdowns. Indiana remains number 2 in the country, right behind the Buckeyes at number 1, and they're on a collision course to play in the Big Ten championships. Texas A&M is not getting a lot of national ink. They trailed South Carolina 30-3, and they came back. And this quarterback, Marcel Reed, he's not getting any national ink either. He throws for 439 and 3 touchdowns against the Gamecocks as the Aggies come back and win. Oklahoma, big upset in Tuscaloosa against Alabama. And it wasn't Johnny Mateer's doing. It was the Sooners' defense. Boomer Sooner, 3 takeaways in the course of that game. And they withstood Bama's quarterback, Tyler Simpson, who threw for 326. Huge. I would have never thought Oklahoma would have won in Tuscaloosa. Georgia trashed Texas. Gunnar Stockton throws 4 more touchdown passes. Arch Manning really overwhelmed. Texas has lost 3 games in a row. See ya. They're out of the championship picture. A couple of other notes. Virginia Tech has just hired its new coach within the hour, James Franklin. Penn State. The boosters loaded it with money. Penn State is off the financial hook for the buyout. James Franklin, unique guy. Granted, he did not win big games at Penn State, but his ability to flip programs, turn programs, recruit unique kids, academic kids, because he did great things at Vanderbilt before he went to State College. Now he's down in Blacksburg. He goes to Virginia Tech. It'll be interesting to see where he's going to be able to go get players immediately, because he is a good recruiter. North Carolina, Bill and the Babe, the hoodie and the hot pants. They got punched in the mouth by Wake Forest. Brutal. Wake Forest ran for 233 yards on Belichick's defense. North Carolina's 4-6. Before the game, Belichick, via Instagram, via his fiancée, put out this big message: I am not a candidate for any job in the NFL, taking his name out of the potential for the New York Football Giants or any other job. And he signs off at the end, on to Wake Forest. And they went on to Wake Forest and got punched in the mouth by the Demon Deacons. So that's an interesting story. And here's a bad part of college football: transfer portal, NIL, money. Mm-hmm. Miami of Ohio, pretty good program, Mid-American Conference. They just lost their quarterback. He's walked out on the team with weeks left in the season because he doesn't want to get hurt. And he's a really good player, DeQuan Finn. He'd started at Toledo for 3.5 years, wound up at Miami of Ohio, NIL transfer guy. He's got almost 9,000 total yards, 106 touchdowns. He exits the Miami Redhawks program with 3 weeks to go in the season. Not going to play anymore. Isn't that trashy?
I mean, it's got to be personal issues, no?
No. He wants to prepare for the NFL draft. He's not an NFL quarterback. He might be a Canadian Football League quarterback. He might be an NFL wide receiver. That's terrible. Turning your back on your teammates with 3 weeks to go in the season.
Yeah, it is.
So, anyhow, news and notes, college football. Feel free to join us. Want to hear what you've got to say. Jump on board, Fans Forum. We go from that. Let's talk NBA basketball.
NBA, we got Mavs, we got the Pelicans.
Well, tell you, this controversy in Dallas just will not go away. They are so enraged months upon months after the Luka Doncic trade with the Lakers. Now the legend Dirk Nowitzki has stood up and sounded off, saying it's time for Maverick fans to support the players that are here now and stop the negative vibe that's in that building. Last week they fired the general manager, Nico Harrison. Nowitzki said, if I were the owner, I would have never traded Luka. And that despite the fact that Luka smoked cigarettes and seemed to be perennially out of shape and there were injuries, etc. Dirk said, I would have never traded him. You built the roster to work through all the talents that Luka has. Why would you trade him after making all these deals? The other thing he said, by virtue of the trade and the whole thing that's happened with Anthony Davis and the injuries, the Kyrie Irving injuries, the fact that Nico Harrison was there and the fans would rather come to the arena and scream, fire Nico, rather than support AD or the other players, including Cooper Flagg, said it created a black cloud environment there that we can't have. So Dirk Nowitzki stood up, and he's an icon, and he's such a special human being as a player and a leader, just stood up and said, you people need to come support Cooper Flagg and what's left on the roster. New Orleans. Remember Joe Dumars coming in as general manager?
Oh, yeah.
One of the quotes that we had right after his press conference was, you will be accountable. We're going to change everything in New Orleans. Well, nothing changed. They kept losing. They were 2-10. They fired the coach, Willie Green, who's 21-62 as head coach, so he's out. Dumars says, the next people that may vacate will be those of you in the locker room. Zion Williamson, are you paying attention? Because he's hurt again. He can never stay on the court. So New Orleans is just an utter disaster, the Pelicans. NBA, nice culture. We may like the players, slam dunks, the great athletes, three-point shots. Nice culture. The NBA fines 3 different players this past week for lewd conduct on the court, making gestures, lewd gestures, either towards the refs or to the fans in the stands. What is with these guys? I know it's hard. Show some class. Poor NBA's got so many problems there. And now they got ongoing investigation about the gambling situation. They have not only asked for the cell phones of 10 different L.A. Laker employees because they want to see if any of these people, some of them are close confidants of LeBron James, if any of these people were feeding information to Damon Jones, the coach, who got indicted for insider trading information with gamblers. Now they've also, the search is spread. Now they're investigating players in Orlando. So, tip of the iceberg. I think this is, it's sadly, it may be all over the place. Adam Silver's got a huge challenge on his hands. So, talk Dallas, talk New Orleans, talk all things NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even pay attention to the Pelicans. I mean, you just sort of forget that they even exist. So good on Dumars for kind of shaking it up. These NBA players, I mean, first of all, the gambling thing sounds really ugly. And to your point, I think it is a tip of an iceberg. But lewd gestures? I mean, we still celebrate the time that Reggie Miller got into the choking sign with Spike Lee back in the 90s, and we still talk about it, and we still think it's great. I mean, you got to understand this is showmanship, Now, granted, is it really lewd? I've seen it where he kind of hits his side of his hips like that. That's not really that lewd. I mean, but I will say in the NFL, they're getting a lot more creative with their celebration moves in the end zone. Maybe the NBA can take some notes from them.
Just ridiculous. Show some class. I know it's hard, but show some class. You want to make a comment? Go ahead. Fans forum chat box is open for basketball fans. Hockey hotline, man, there's a ton of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, the LA Kings. Who's hot? Who's not?
My old Canada network, get ready to pile in here. Do you know the LA Kings are in first place in the division?
Wow.
Do you know the Anaheim Ducks are in second place in the division?
Wow. In
the Pacific? The Kings are 9-1-2 on the road. Man, are they playing great hockey. However, a big setback today. Drew Doughty has been knocked out with what appears to be a foot injury, got hit with a shot. I hope it's not a fracture. He missed a huge chunk of the season last year. Drew Doughty is gone. They just signed Adrian Kempe to an 8-year, $85 million extension. Kings are really playing well on the road. Ducks have hit a little bit of bump on the road. They were red hot. They'd won 7 in a row. They lost 3 straight on the road. Ducks got to take a deep breath. They need to get some more goal scoring, but the Ducks are currently in second place. How about the San Diego Gulls? Back-to-back home games, Friday and Saturday night. They drew over 9,000 Friday. They drew over 11,000 on Saturday night for minor league hockey.
That's awesome.
So they're playing really well. Justin Bailey, one of the veteran AHL guys, they signed him last season. He got 4 goals in the 2 games. The young kid, Igor Sedorov, he had 4 more goals. Ex-NHL Detroit Red Wing goaltender Ville Husso has just been exceptional between the pipes. So if the Gulls just can continue to play at this level, can you imagine? That building rocks. I mean, you get 9,000, 10,000, 11,000 in that building. That's an event.
Yeah, for sure.
Time. So off to the races really well. Montreal had a great start, and this is terrible. In 2 weeks' time, Montreal Canadiens have suffered 4 major injuries leading to surgery. They've lost a lot of their goal scorers, and all of a sudden they can't score goals. Tough setback because Montreal was hot out of the gate. Maple Leafs, we're waiting for something to happen. I don't know if Craig Berube is going to survive this. He's the second-year coach, or is this just a byproduct of injuries and the fact you let Mitch Marner go? They're 8-9-2, and now they've lost Austin Matthews, their 60-goal scorer, with what appears to be a leg injury or a knee injury. Toronto's in big trouble. And Edmonton, the Oilers, Stanley Cup Finals all these years in a row. Oilers are in 11th place in the Western Conference. They're just not playing well. And it's not so much on Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl making all the money, but Their other guys, other goal scoring's not there. Their defense has played poorly. And just like the weather that's always out there, their bad goaltending is always out there. And they're really getting bad goaltending.
Stuart Skinner's still getting lit up?
Damn right. I mean, Edmonton in 11th place in the Western Conference. Their record's 9-7-4. That's just hard to believe. So you want to talk Kings, Ducks, Gulls? Go ahead.
I just want to say that it's interesting how in San Diego, California, we have this stealth hockey audience that you don't really expect to be here. But when they show up at the sports arena, that's cool. I mean, that's a really cool thing. I mean, they're getting close to tearing that thing down. I mean, do the Gulls have like a contingency plan where they're going to play if they lose the arena?
No, at this point in time they don't, or at least they've not spoken about it. But that tearing it down, that's a long way down the road.
Only a few years.
There's so much political red tape. This thing it's a quagmire.
It is.
But I'll tell you the most unique thing. 30-second story. When I had gotten wind, I was working at CW6 at that point in time. This might have been 2017. I had gotten wind the American Hockey League was going to expand and that San Diego was coming into the league. So through my sources, I broke the story on Channel 6. Anyhow, when they officially announced it, they announced we're going to hold a fan fest in February, just an introduction. We're going to open up the sports arena and we'll have events, etc. Mm-hmm. And they asked me if I would MC part of the fan fest.
Oh, cool.
So I went down there on a Sunday afternoon, and there were 8,000 fans that showed up.
Hell yeah.
And I walked around that outer concourse before the event started. And a lot of people knew me because I did a lot of hockey coverage when I was doing sports talk radio on 690 and 1090.
Well, you're pretty recognizable, too.
Yeah. And I was absolutely stunned. And if you go to a Gulls game now, you see the exact same thing on the outer concourse. Everybody's wearing somebody's jersey.
Nice.
Red Wings jersey, Ranger jersey,
yes.
Penguin jersey, Kings, Ducks jersey. Oilers jersey, Montreal Maple Leaf jerseys. I mean, the reason? San Diego's a melting pot. There's a lot of people moved here from other places, notably the Pacific Northwest, some from Canada, Eastern Canada. So the Gulls, if the product is on the ice, the Gulls are going to draw an absolute ton of people. Now, the Ducks have let them down 3-4 years in a row. They haven't been in the playoffs because the product's been so bad because the Ducks have drafted the kids and taken the kids right to the NHL rather than put them here. Well, now for the first time, they've got a group of young kids that have been allowed to stay here for a second year in a row, and the product is much better on the ice. But this, I maintain, because this is a melting pot of hockey fans from everywhere, this is a really good minor league hockey town. And I'll tell you what, if you average, they have averaged in the early years when they were here, the first couple of years, the relationship with the Ducks was pretty good. And they had good players. They averaged 10,000 fans, 9,800 fans. You make a lot of money for the big club. And if they average 10 or 11,000 in this building now, wow.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, good on them. So go Gulls, hockey season, man. I mean, it's weird. I'm still getting over baseball. I mean, we're watching a lot of football, basketball starting, and then, oh, my God, it's hockey's going on, too.
Oh, they play Saturday night or Sunday nights. They've through the American Hockey League, they've been able to finagle a lot of really good Friday night, Saturday, Sunday weekend dates.
Oh, excellent.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so you're a hockey fan. O Canada Network, feel free, jump on board. Last topic on the table before we get to Fans Forum. Hot headlines going here, there, and everywhere.
The high-speed sports war. Hey, the Grey Cup.
Canadian Football League Grey Cup. It was wild. It was in Winnipeg last night. It was chilly, but it did not snow. Saskatchewan Roughriders beat the Montreal Alouettes. Pretty close game, 25-17. Game of turnovers. The Roughriders intercepted 3 passes and then made a goal line stand and recovered a fumble in the end zone at the end of the game to preserve the victory. Trevor Harris, veteran quarterback, throws for over 300 yards in Canada in the wind and the cold and wins his 3rd CFL Grey Cup win. So it was a really, really good performance. So outside of one Grey Cup. Soccer, Team USA. A couple of different storylines here. Team USA beat Paraguay 2-1. The kids, because of injuries, the kids won the game for them. Gio Reyno scored a goal, and then Fobo Logan scored another goal. Team USA wins again. They did not have Pulisic. They did not have Tim Weah. They did not have Weston McKennie. This was the young aspect of the roster, so they're playing really well with the kids together. The other soccer story is really something different. Mauricio Pochettino just announced on the weekend that when they reopen their camp in January to begin the actual prep, they'll have a camp then and they'll have a camp in May. And the May camp will then lead him right to the World Cup. He's only inviting 26 players. He's only inviting the 26-man roster. He says, I went back and looked. He has looked at 71 different players through the build-up to the World Cup. So he's got a lot of data and information about who's where, whether they can contribute, who played well with who, etc. He says he does not invite a big crowd to come to his actual World Cup preseason training camp because he doesn't want to have these guys compete and then send them home. He thinks that's unfair. So he says, my 26 will be my 26, and this is the way we're going to build this thing. Interesting perspective, very different. The guy in the green jacket on the left, this is a horrible story. One of the great community college JUCO coaches in the country. His name is John Beam, Laney College, San Francisco, Oakland. He sent like 63 kids to Division I programs. He was shot and murdered Friday on the campus. They arrested a 27-year-old former player, had never played for Beam, never played at Laney. But you're talking about the morning. NFL saluted him. College football saluted him. We don't have any motive as to why John Beam was killed, but he was shot on the campus between classes on Friday. The other picture, this is one of the great ones. And again, we talk a lot of auto racing. I talk F1. We do talk IndyCar when it runs. We talk some NASCAR. NHRA does not get as much coverage as it should. John Force, he is one of the great personalities of all time, is just retired. John Force, 16-time funny car champion in drag racing, won 157 races, built an empire of great teams. John Force is to drag racing, Roger Penske is to IndyCar racing, to Joe Gibbs is to NASCAR. Special man. He was involved in a horrific crash last summer. 300 miles an hour, his car exploded. He suffered significant head injuries, concussions, some brain damage. He's just announced he's retiring. He's not going to come back, and he's going to retire as an owner of the team. His daughter, by the way, Brittany Force, is a great star. She simultaneously announced she was retiring because she's going to start a family. She's won 19 races in like 4 years racing under the John Force banner. Brittany ran 343 miles an hour last summer.
Oh, my God.
In a drag racer. What phenomenal. That's fast.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so news and notes. You want to talk Canada? You want to talk soccer? We'll talk terrible tragedy in football and obviously drag racing.
Yeah, it was interesting. In the Grey Cup, I was reading your overview in the Best 15, and you were calling the Rough Riders the Roughies. Is that like their nickname?
Yeah. Green uniform, Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Different from the Ottawa Rough Riders, who are now called the Ottawa Red and Black.
Wait, so there's two teams in the CFL that are called the Rough Riders?
Right. Although Ottawa is now going by the second nickname, Red and Black.
Okay, that must be a Canada thing, is what Rough Riders mean. I always think of Teddy Roosevelt with the Rough Riders.
Exactly. Well, the Canada thing, the CFL came from rugby. That's where this whole thing started.
Oh, okay. And then, the Team USA, it's interesting. He's only bringing 26 to camp, Pochettino, but I'd imagine he knows who's in the on-deck circle. Mm-hmm. If there's an injury, he's got someone he can call.
Yes.
So it's probably going to be okay. The John Beam is interesting. First of all, I remember him from the Netflix series, Last Chance U.
Yes.
And you hear all this outpouring of sorrow about how special a man he is. And it's a sad story. But it's interesting. Whenever I have to say his name, I have to be careful how I say it because I always want to say Jim Beam or Johnny Walker, but it's John Beam, we lost a great one there. And then John Force, which by the way is a great name in auto racing. Just drag racing in and of itself, it's just a wild sport. And I remember as a kid going to the Fremont drag strip up in the Bay Area and watching those cars go. And then you get a bunch of amateurs that are out there that get to do it as well. But I mean, that's just like, that's crazy. I mean, the way they go flying down and they have the parachute and everything else.
Yeah. If you want to see a really bad video, just video John Force crash. It was at Richmond last summer. I mean, it was unbelievable that he was able to be pulled out of the car and was still alive. By the way, I had a quote here from two players that I wanted to mention about the passing of John Beam and the incident at Laney College up in Oakland. One quote came from one of his players who's in the NFL. He was a teammate to everyone. He dedicated his whole career to those inner city kids that he coached up.
Good man.
And the other one, he was a leader who shaped leaders. I mean, you can't express the value of that man much more than those two phrases.
Yeah, very special man. Lost a great one. There's a lot of good quality football coaches that are not in the limelight, right?
They influence people.
Big time.
People.
Yeah.
Interesting. Anyhow, it's your turn now to take over this podcast. It's time for Fans Forum. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, doors and windows. You got projects, back patio out by the swimming pool. You need ideas? Go to DIXIELINE. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things they can offer for you. John, I'm ready. You're ready. Yeah, I do think we have a few hundred people here ready on Fans Forum.
Yeah, we do. Okay, let's go to our friend David. If you put a couple of bucks to it, we put you to the top of the list. Thanks, David. Hey, you generalize Padres fans. They love the team because they're winning. Winning requires spending. This team's spending days are over. You'll be able to buy a $20 ticket day of game in a couple of years.
So David's of the opinion that this era is over. So maybe he buys one of my economic theories that the Seidler family knows what it costs to run this thing. The Seidler family knows there might be a work stoppage in 2027. The Seidler family knows there's $981 million they have to pay. They also know there's $450 million in debt the club still has. And they have a right to step out if they wish. But I just asked the question, why? Give us an explanation. If you do not wish to go forward with economics, say so. If you're non-baseball people, which they really are, Peter was the passionate baseball guy, say so. Just tell us.
It's not going to change our opinion of what's going to happen in the future. Mm-hmm. So I just figure, obviously Peter is a special man. He passed. Team, the family inherits it. That Seidler group has got to manage assets. They're turning the page. I don't have a problem with it. It makes you, though, wonder, this was probably the plan all along. Shields Seidler warned us that they would sell, maybe even move. So imagine if Shields Seidler had been able to secure the assets of the team. This would be a very different story.
Yeah. But again, you're still facing the economic reality of all those numbers I just posted for you there. That being said, it's proven. Peter Seidler leadership has proven good baseball market. Look at the volume of money we've been able to make to operate at this level. That message goes out to everybody, how special Petco Park is, Gaslamp Quarter, baseball tradition, melting pot marketplace. So there should be a really good owner out there with deep pockets that will come in and want to buy this franchise, I think.
Well, if it's any of those big names that we've talked about, like Ballmer or Bezos or one of these kind of sports billionaire guys, that'll be fine. That'll work out just fine.
Okay, thank you, David.
Okay, let's go here to Matthew. He goes, Peter would still have faced TV contract issues if he was still the owner.
Well, true. He put his faith, obviously, in MLB. MLB by 2028 is going to hope to take everybody's broadcast in-house and form a super network. It was called Team 30 was the concept that Rob Manfred had worked out. At this point, though, you'd have to convince the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Red Sox and the ones that have the mega TV contracts to be part of this for the better good of everybody. But, yeah, that was a reality. But Peter wanted to spend his money on baseball, and what's left behind, the family members, the brothers, don't want to invest in baseball. So that's their right. I just wish they would just give us an honest explanation.
Yeah, but the delta on the baseball deal was about $30 million, right? I mean, they were getting about 60, weren't they, from Bally, and they're only getting about $30 million from MLB
Per year.
That's a significant amount of money, but it's not like $300 million, It's probably manageable, and I would imagine as the MLB streaming, or are they going to stick with the MLB platform, or are they going to go with some other carrier? Because in other markets, there are still regional sports networks, right?
Some regional sports networks, but the big picture is that TV contracts with the big networks all expire simultaneously, and Manfred wants to take everything in-house, but he's got to convince the Yankees to do something different financially with the Yes Network and the Dodgers with their Spectrum Sports Network, etc.
That's their strategic advantage.
It's big time.
Yeah, big time. Okay, let's keep moving. We'll go to Carlos. LA Kings, 24 points in first place. LA Lakers, 10-4 in first place. And the LA Rams, 8-2 in first place. LA is on fire.
And you didn't mention Dodger World Series ring.
Right.
So, yeah, they're doing really well in the Los Angeles market right now. I don't think the Kings can continue to play at this pace. I still think there's good hockey. There's lots of hockey still to come. I woke up this morning and it dawned on me, the Kings are in first place in the Pacific and the Ducks are in second place. We haven't seen that whenever.
Yeah, but it's November, right?
That's right.
But it is nice. Yeah, it is exciting. I mean, it really is. I mean, the Kings have been good, and they've always been at the top, or near the top of the division. But now the Ducks are finally in contention. So who knows? We could have a magical season here in L.A.
Oh, Carlos, you're feeling good about yourself in Los Angeles, aren't you? Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's go here to HB Jeff. I assume that's Huntington Beach. Hey, good afternoon, Lee and John. These November 7:30 p.m. college football kickoffs on the West Coast are ridiculous. What's your reaction?
Well, I might be old school, you think? College football should be at 1:30 every Saturday afternoon, but we got TV contracts and mega rights fees deals and all these networks, and so everybody's picking and choosing when to place the games and this window, that window, etc. So I don't like 7:30 games, especially if it winds up being, because everybody throws the football, winds up being a 4-hour game. That's a really long football game on a Saturday night. But that's the business of football, and it's all mega money now, and things have changed. You have to adjust to it, adapt to it. I'll be intrigued to see if Saturday afternoon football in the new look Pac-12 becomes more afternoon football than late night football. And nobody on the East Coast is watching. You can scream and yell, hey, we got a Pac-12 window at 7:30. The whole nation. Well, who the hell in New York City or New England is going to watch Pac-12 football at 10:30 back east?
Oh, there's some people, gamblers for sure.
Not many.
Not many, but I used to always think that. It's like, when we have these late games, the game starts at 10 or 10:30 back east. It's over at 1 in the morning. Who could stay up that late? And now I'm older, and I can't stay up late enough for a 7:30 start on the Pacific time zone. So, it is late. I mean, the thing about college football, it's so neat. It's kind of like a lot of magical things happen. The scores will, like it was like Texas A&M being down 30-3 and roaring back. And you get when you have that kind of craziness on the field, it's fun when it's during daylight hours, because that green grass, the color of the uniforms, the fans in the stands, it just has a different vibe during the day. So, yeah, I kind of agree with you there.
We'll see where it goes. Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Okay, let's go here to Chris. Padres can relax a bit about their perceived lack of pitching. They just re-signed the 2024 Choi Dong-hwan Award winner Kyle Hart. That was a vital first step in their hopes of winning the West next year.
Well, they didn't pick up the $5 million option, so he probably signed for the same amount he got last year. I will say this, he pitched well the back half of the schedule in El Paso, and then when he had the cup of coffee at the end of the season and they needed innings in San Diego, he was okay. okay. So maybe he comes in as just kind of a setup guy and try to make the roster and stay here. But he's not a difference maker, and he's not going to be in the starting rotation. They're still woefully short of quality starting pitching, but that's what the next group of weeks going to the winter baseball meetings are going to be all about, and we'll just have to see which one of these guys they come up with. I mean, I was told about Dustin May over the weekend. I said, that's kind of interesting because May pitched well. Despite having 2 surgeries, he was really dominant, and some other things happened. And then Boston took him off the roster at the end of the season because he was ailing again, but he's healthy. Verlander, I mean, that's an old war horse, but the way he pitched at the back half of the schedule for San Francisco, he can still pitch. And I think the other thing is these guys, under the A.J. Preller mode of operation, these guys would be affordable.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to have to find a few affordable pieces there. Mm-hmm. And here, Kyle Hart, that's a depth piece, I think is what you can call him. So, we'll see. I mean, it's still so early. I mean, it really is. And they got a lot of other options, too. I mean, Mason Miller, Morejon can be converted to starter.
No, we're not doing
I still think that's a good idea. Michael King might come back. You never know. It's still way too early to get doom and gloom here. But as of this minute right now, I don't like our starting rotation.
Not at all. I mean, the starting rotation is Nick Pivetta, and that's all we have with big-time credibility. And why would you say something negative? Well, the reality is, look at the gold standard starting pitching the Dodgers have in the World Series.
Well, yeah.
And compare it to this rotation here. But there's a lot of guys out there. Preller has the ability. His history has been able to find people to come in and pitch. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of other people need pitching too. There's only been one free agent signing so far. Naylor just signed to go back to Seattle.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
Yeah, but he was homegrown. They liked it. He liked it there. He hit well at that ballpark. But so there's only one free agent that's come off the board. There's a lot of guys out there, and I think it's going to be slow movement with pitching for a while till we get to the winter baseball meetings, and then you'll see things happen quick.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it goes. Still early. Okay, let's keep going here. Go to Eric. The Chargers are chargering again.
Oh, that was awful. And I sat there, and when I saw Justin Herbert get pancaked, man, he got hit right here. I don't know whether he got hit in the jaw, but he got hit here and went backwards, and the guy on top of him, I said, he's not going to get up. Well, it took him a while to get up, and he wasn't right when he got up, and then they finally eventually took him to the blue tent, and they took him out of the game. But unfortunately, there's nothing they can do. There's no tackles. There's no players you can go get. Trade deadline's come and gone. So what you have is what you got to play with. The only thing that I'm really bothered by, and so this falls at Harbaugh's door and at the door of Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator. The only thing you can do is you must take a tight end and make him a blocker. And you keep him in. It takes one receiver out of the pattern. But you need to help your left tackle or your right tackle, and you locate him there as an extra blocker. And that's the most important thing is protecting Justin Herbert. But they haven't done it. I mean, he took so many wicked shots yesterday and so many pressures, and I never see a formation where they got a tight end that becomes an H-back or a tight end that becomes an extra blocker at the line of scrimmage. Do it. You got to protect the quarterback.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot. But do you think that when you're in this situation, it's like you say, who are you going to find off the street to come in and start offensive line for the Chargers in the NFL and go against the beasts, on the other line?
Well, they traded for Trevor Penning.
Yeah,
started him at left tackle, and he got killed.
Yeah,
and he got Herbert killed. I was really stunned at how poorly he played at left tackle. Prior to that, they'd signed Bobby Hart, ex-Bengal. If the Bengals don't want you, how good are you? And he'd been out of the league 2 years.
Yeah,
and prior to that, they signed David Sharp, who'd been cut 3 times by the Arizona Cardinals. There's nobody you can go get. Which is on your roster is what you got to play with. But you can adjust and help what's on your roster by changing some of your people and putting a tight end in there to block.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing. But now let's just kind of be a little bit crazy here. Since there are no really good options off the street, There's probably no good options in, the depth chart, to go in to play offensive line. What if they got like the third string guy that was like a pass rusher, or maybe even like a linebacker? Do you think you could throw them in? I mean, their athleticism might be, and their football IQ might be enough to do that job.
You're talking about taking a defensive player or make him a...
Yeah, it's just in an emergency situation because their options are very limited.
To take a defensive tackle and flip him and make him an offensive tackle, you couldn't do it. There's not enough hours in the day to teach him the techniques that need to be done. One of the things that could help, what's the kid that wears number 44, who's a fullback and a defensive tackle?
But he played a little bit of offense.
But I've seen him at fullback totally whiff on blitz blocks and get Herbert killed. But that's the type of guy you would have to have. And the other thing that makes it complicated is they don't have tight ends that are physical blockers. They got tight ends who are pass catchers. The Gadsden kid and Disley, those guys are down the field. They're not guys who stand in line of scrimmage and going to punch a pass rusher in the mouth. They don't have multiple tight ends.
Just thinking about, teaching the skills of offensive linemen to a defensive lineman or someone like that. Have you ever seen the video clip of Kevin Durant in a gymnasium trying to get past an NFL offensive lineman? And it was impossible. Yeah, he was just the blocking technique was just, he couldn't even stop one of the best NBA players of all time. That just goes to show you, it is a unique skill.
Yeah. By opening day next season, everybody will be back. Everybody will be back healthy, and they'll have another draft.
But they're the Chargers.
And those guys are hurt right now.
Yeah, it's just something always goes wrong. Okay, let's go here to Michael. Hey, will the football Aztecs make the college football playoff if they win the next 3 games, including the conference championship?
It's a nice thing to think about. I just think it's really hard. Strength of schedule is going to come into play in this. They haven't played a great schedule. You still got the teams from the AAC. You got the... Off the top of my head, Memphis lost, so that's kind of hurt them. Tulane is in this mix. They play a tougher schedule than, say, San Diego State has. A whole bunch of other dominoes would have to fall off the table, I think, for SDSU to get this to happen. But they're playing really well. I mean, they're 10-2. They could be 10-2 by 2 weeks from now, what a turnaround. So I would hope this community support this thing because this coach has flipped this thing pretty damn quick. And this coach did the exact same thing at Kent State, and that situation was more miserable than San Diego State was when he first got there in the Mid-American Conference. But I think it'd be a long shot at best that they would ever get any consideration.
Well, they would need some help. I mean, I think James Madison is kind of up there.
Yep.
There's like 2 or 3 teams that are probably ahead of them in the pecking order. Just forget about that for now. We got San Jose. That should be a relatively easy win. On the road in Albuquerque is going to be tough. And then assuming they win those, whoever they play in the Mountain West Championship game is not going to be a cakewalk.
No, but whoever they play in the Mountain West Championship game, it's going to be either Boise, Fresno, or Hawaii. They're already beaten. Well, they didn't beat Hawaii.
It might be a return of Hawaii.
But Hawaii doesn't play well stateside.
It depends where they are, which time zone.
Yeah.
As long as we're talking Aztecs, let's get our good friend Aztec Mike in here. How about those Aztecs? Our fans were loud. Boise fans were not. A win with 2 fans, there is still a win. First place is first place. It was a tough night for a big game, with all the rain in the forecast.
But they slogged it. I mean, and they powered up, and they played power football. And this thing has gotten progressively better and better. And for the most part, they've stayed free of injuries, although I don't know about Jordan Napier. He was having an MRI on the weekend to see whether this is a significant knee injury or not. A little bit disturbed that the quarterback has kind of regressed, I'm not saying about Saturday because it was hard to throw the football in the rain and all that. But, the week before he was 10 for 27 out on the island. So they got a little bit of work to do there with Denegal. But they got another year with him at quarterback. But collectively, this is just neat. I mean, for them to go from 3-9 and really be bad to be sitting here with the potential to be 10-2 and playing a championship game. I hope this community responds.
You know who made some plays in that game was Chris Johnson.
Well, he always has. He's been doing that all year.
But they were saying like how they rarely throw to that side, but when they do, or when they run that direction, I mean, it's a smackdown.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's tough. I mean, they're saying maybe he's going to play on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll get a chance, and we'll see. But offensive line has stayed intact. They were such a wreck a year ago with injuries, and they've started pretty much the same 5 through the whole season. Huh? In the defensive front, a bunch of unsung heroes are playing pretty well. Back 7 on defense. Get there fast, get there in a foul mood. They do.
Hey, by the way, speaking of Aztecs playing on Sunday, did you see Josh Allen's press conference praising Aztec Terrell Shavers?
Yeah.
And the work he's doing as a receiver, special teams guy, working hard, started on the practice squad. Now he's getting reps in big-time games.
Yeah, they've had wide receiver problems in Buffalo. Some of the guys have regressed, and they've benched some guys, and Shakur is their star, but he hasn't been very consistent. And Keon Coleman, who I thought was going to do really well second year, he wound up getting benched because he was late for practice, and they said, screw you. His own teammates said, you don't want to be here? You don't want to do what we're doing? Screw you. So, but Shavers, he was a transfer in from Mississippi State, I believe.
Yeah, he was.
And
yeah.
he didn't play a lot till his last year, caught some passes. He was the leading receiver yesterday. I think he caught 4 for maybe 100 yards.
Good for him.
Yeah.
That's special.
So, okay. Hey, Mike, get some of your friends out here. Let's see what the 10-2 looks like. How does that taste? Boy, that'd be cool.
It would be. Okay, here's someone taking a shot, Lee. Hey, Lee, I'm trying to grow out my stash like yours. Too bad I'm only half the man.
Oh, you'll get better. Just keep working at it.
Okay. Hey, this is a new guy here, John. Hey, he goes, Seidler's legal travails, while details sketchy, likely a factor in the sale. I don't sense financial stability with the current owners, TV package, need a visionary leadership to build future success.
I think you need somebody with bigger, deeper pockets. And that might be one of the many names that we've thrown out there. And there'll be some other people who will surface along the way. Baseball will be very selective. But the positive, this market has proven itself that this is a big-time baseball market. The other reality is the cost of owning a franchise today, and maybe it was just too big for the Seidler family. And because of the expenditures they had to make for the contracts that they signed, and the money is now committed going forward, and it's only going to get more expensive as they go. It just may well be the Seidlers said, we just don't want to continue to do this and have to operate where we make cash calls, etc. Because I happen to think, John disagrees with me, dummy. I happen to think that this market is financially tapped out.
Tapped out?
I mean, you've raised your prices 57%. In 4 years or 5 years. That's a phenomenal pay hike. So I don't know how much more they can squeeze out of the market. Padres got all upset when I said, why are you taxing the fans' loyalty with the last pay hike?
Well, people are getting taxed for the stadium, but not for the team. Squeeze out of the – I mean, come on, they're spending money. I mean, you can't complain about ticket prices and then get upset about nearly $1 billion in future contracts. I mean, pick a side, you know? So I don't know. I mean, right now their prices have gone up a lot. It's not an inexpensive day at the park when you go down there, but you're getting quality entertainment. And by the way, even at those high prices, they're still selling out like 80% of the games. Right. So why would you assume that it's tapped out? You know, as long as they're putting a good product on the field, we know the fans will show up and they'll probably pay more. But, you know, there is some worry. If this team goes in the tank, you know, if we go backwards to the Chris D'Onofrio days, then, yeah, I mean, the whole economic model just gets blown up.
Okay, we'll see where it goes. We have a lot more to talk about. John, thanks for being with us as always.
Okay, let's go to Casey. Hey, good afternoon, guys. Nice win by my USC Trojans over Iowa. Hacksaw, how do you see the Trojans matching up against Oregon?
We had a lot of good games this past weekend. That's the game next weekend in Eugene. Troy versus the Ducks. Oregon just plays with its hair on fire at home. Autzen Stadium is a really hard place to win, yet Indiana did win there. We'll see how Maava holds up. He does not turn the football over. Are they going to be able to run the football? I mean, they've had some really good performances from the 3 different running backs they've had. They've had injury problems there too. It's going to be a great game. But boy, Oregon plays it at a much different level. at Autzen Stadium. It's going to be a dandy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a great place to watch a game.
Yeah.
My kids were touring to go decide which college to go to, and we went up to Eugene. We saw them play Colorado. It was just a big romp, but it rained during the game, and the fans were just loving all the rain coming down. That's a tough call. We've had varying opinions of USC this season. There's times we've been excited about him. There's times we've been disappointed about him. We were concerned about Lincoln Riley. Is he in a hot seat, or is he a genius?
Well, he's got the quarterback, second-year starter. Mikael Lemon can't be defended. He had 10 catches for 150 yards this past weekend. They're on their third running back. King Miller has really put up 100-yard games on a consistent basis. So, but all that being said, this is Oregon. It's in Eugene, Autzen Stadium. It might rain. Dante Moore has really evolved as a gunslinger quarterback for the Ducks. They're 3 deep at running back. It's going to be a big-time challenge.
Yeah, 2 top 25 teams. Here we go.
Yep.
Okay, here's a 4-shot rapid fire from King Zoa. Justin Herbert just needs to leave L.A. He's another Daniel Jones waiting to happen. Same with Kyler Murray. They both need to leave.
Well, I'll disagree with you because Herbert's proven a lot. I mean, Herbert's put some amazing numbers up there, and he has shown resiliency, and he's shown leadership, and he's shown athleticism, and he's shown toughness. I don't think you can say that for those other guys. Now, Daniel Jones was a victim of just a really bad situation with the Giants. Everybody around him was hurt. Kyler Murray came from a very different offense, and his learning curve was steep. Now, he is a really good athlete, and he's made a lot of plays, but they lost all their players, and they lost the quarterback. So I think it's unfair, honestly, King, to think that Justin Herbert is in the same category as some of those other guys. Herbert he needs to have better people to protect him, because when he's healthy and he has pocket, he makes a ton of plays. You know, and I think the one statistic is out there. I think he's in his 5th year now. He has thrown for more yards and more touchdowns in the history of the NFL than any other young quarterback in his first 4.5 or 5 years. That says a lot. You can yell, well, Lee's never won a playoff game. He's 0-2 in postseason. But the reality is that's an organizational situation. This kid he's been so productive. So I can't denounce Justin Herbert. Sorry, I disagree with you on that.
Everyone loves Justin Herbert. You know, all the analysts, everyone's had like a love affair with the guy. You know, I mean,
he's productive. Does he win?
Well, yeah, he's got all the attributes. He's even, with all the TMZ Hollywood celebrities these days. I mean, everyone loves Justin Herbert. But damn it, I just wonder. You imagine if he had to change the scenery. I mean, he could be the next Jared Allen.
Josh Allen.
It's Josh Allen. Pardon me. Jared Allen was the Vikings guy, right?
Yeah, he was the defensive end.
Yeah, so it could be like Josh Allen. I mean, he could be lighting it up.
But he's not going anywhere. He signed a multi-year contract extension. He's the cornerstone of the franchise. This has just been a bad year of injuries. I mean, what's happening now has nothing to do with Joe Ortiz or even Jim Harbaugh. What's happening now is they've lost all these offensive linemen. And they lost their top 2 running backs and 3 tackles.
Yeah, what are you going to do, man?
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough.
So I just hope he gets through the season without something happen catastrophic. And I mean, I thought he had a concussion. I didn't think he was going to get up after he got pancaked.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when that happened, I mean, he literally got lifted in the air and it was like flat. It was like a belly flop on the back.
With the guy on top of him.
Yeah. That was rough.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, King.
Okay. Some more NFL talk. Let's go here to Teamer. Hey, the Eagles defense held one of the most explosive offenses to 9 points. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Eagles made all those trades at the deadline, made 4 different deals to kind of upgrade their defensive front and their back end. It's a really complete football team right now. Dan Campbell, smart guy. Dan Campbell, tough guy. Dan Campbell going 0 for 5 on 4th down conversions. That's not showing a lot of respect to Philadelphia's defense. And all he needed was a couple field goals, and the whole game looks very, very different. So, but it was a great game. Trust me, I think we'll see these guys against each other in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it was just kind of a rough game to watch, It was
a grind.
It was a grind, and it was just kind of took some mental effort to watch it and get through
But
it.
there are two great defensive teams doing that.
Clearly. But remember the Philly, their defense wasn't good, and all of a sudden it's become great.
Well, byproduct of the trades. They made 4 different deals to get players in and around the trade deadline. If you hit the rewind button and you recall back in the early season, I kept asking a question, why did they get rid of some of the guys that got they let a whole bunch of free agents leave as unsigned guys, young guys too, that are starting other places. And I said, boy, that's a lot of young talent to let walk out the door. And then they started the season and played really, really poorly defensively. I said, see, I told you so.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley isn't what he was, though. I mean, what do you think the reason is for that?
Injuries offensive front. They just lost Lane Johnson. Lisfranc fracture right foot. He's their top tackle. And they've had problems with the guard. And they've had multiple injuries to Juergens, the center. So it's just not the same collection. Last year, totally healthy. The whole season as Barkley was going crazy. This year, there's different people having to start because these guys keep coming in and out of the lineup.
It's funny you said the word Lisfranc. And I remember that was in the best 15 with Kyler Murray, right? Didn't he break his Lisfranc in his foot?
He's got a sprained foot. I don't know if he fractured it, but Lane Johnson's got a bad foot injury now.
But I had to look it up, to find out it was like a bone, like one of the many bones in your foot.
Yeah, it's become a more common injury in the NFL, more significant injury too, because it doesn't heal. They say sprained foot, and you walk around hoping that it's not a Lisfranc sprain. Which
Interesting.
Could be like a dislocation.
All right, man, a little medical stuff going down here in the podcast.
I did not cut class that day.
Okay. Hey, let's go talk some Lakers with Michael. Hey, when LeBron comes back with the Lakers, now 10-4, will it make team chemistry better or will it get worse?
I think it's going to make them better because there'll be another scoring option there. I mean, Luka and Austin Reeves are the ones that are carrying this thing. I mean, Luka's had 4 games of plus 40 already this season. And Austin Reeves, I think, has had 3 mega games. Aiton has had a couple of good games. Hachimura's had 1 good game. Hachimura's hurt now. He's got a calf injury. So, no, Luka becomes another scoring option, and we'll just see how they distribute the ball. Does everything run through Doncic, or does this thing start to run through LeBron? So, I mean, they're playing well right now. Haven't played a lot of good teams. Also, they went on the road and got their ass kicked. So this is not fait accompli that they're going to have this first-place season here either. What was it, last Friday they went into Atlanta? Atlanta's without 3 starters, and Atlanta buried them. How's that possible?
The Hawks, man. They haven't been anything really since Dominique Wilkins back in the 80s. It's been a long stretch for them.
Time. And hurt. Trey Young's hurt, and he's their superstar.
Well, here, I want some guy here taking shots, and it's Laker-related. Roger says, go Lakers. GKG. I'm not sure who he's referring to there. Go Kings, go. Of course he will not mention sidekick San Francisco fan, San Diego fan, show me your lightning bolt. People taking shots here, Lee.
That's okay. Probably most of them deflected in your direction.
In that case, they were. Okay. Here's go to Steven. Because I can't imagine the big market teams giving up their TV contracts without getting a majority piece of the pie and tons of incentives.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to convince the Yankees, the Mets, the Red Sox, and obviously what the Dodgers have to step away or put a bigger amount into the pot. The commissioner's of the opinion, though, by the time he gets done negotiating, because there's so many streaming companies out there, that they're going to come away with a mega deal. Understand this. The demographics of baseball have changed. A lot more younger viewers. Attendance all-time high. TV ratings all-time high. The whole globalization of the game, a.k.a. what's happened in Japan, all-time record. So this is a different game now than it was 5 years ago, than it was 10 years ago, than it was 20 years ago, than it was when he and I watched it on black and white TV as kids. So very different time. But you got to make everybody come to the table and be willing to be a true partner. And at this point, Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, Dodgers, who all have the mega regional contracts, I don't know if they're going to do that. That's Stephen, it's a really great question as you raise.
Well, the NFL must have had to come to a similar agreement.
But that was before the NFL became mega.
Okay, but I'm sure they probably had to make certain concessions to certain big market teams.
No, because at that point, those deals were not out there. Could they make it now? No. If everybody had an independent deal. Remember, the TV contracts that are all equally shared now, those things were put in place in the 50s and 60s. by the legendary owners, the Art Modells of Cleveland, the guys who created the Monday Night Football and the TV network relationships. So this sharing has been in place since the 50s and 60s, and look where the NFL is in terms of growth. Jerry Jones has tried to change it and been voted down, that we're not going to do this just because there's a few odd teams that are led by rich men who think they can reinvent the world. We're not going to do that because that's what's made the revenue share successful in the NFL.
Well, like take the World Series, for example, and it's being broadcast in Japan to a huge audience. Now, the MLB is going to get a slice of that.
Yes.
Okay, and then I would imagine that would be equitably distributed amongst the 30 teams?
Yep.
Okay. So this is part of, how is San Diego, are they tapped out as a market? This is other ways that San Diego can get like kind of what they call green revenue or new revenue that can come in the door.
Yeah, but it's a smaller amount of money.
But it's still, there's possibilities here to the pie, the San Diego pie for the market, I think can grow still. Is it going to double or triple? Probably not. But it's not necessarily we're at peak revenue.
Here's the issue. The Dodger TV contract, I think, is worth
something crazy.
$230 million a year.
Yeah, yeah.
So if the Dodger TV network, just like the Yankees, Mets, and Boston, if that thing is worth $230 million to them, and the Padres are getting $30 million from MLB as part of giving the rights over after the collapse of the regional networks, that disparity is not going to change. And I don't care whatever else creatively baseball does. The Dodgers are getting what the Dodgers are getting. I think the Yankee number is $330 million a year in TV rights from Yes.
Right. Yeah, I mean, those you just can't compare with those teams. But if you would assume, like on a relative basis, the LA market is it 8 times bigger than the market we have here?
Yep.
Oh well, that's nuts. They're going to find a way to figure something out here. It's not. I mean, you're kind of painting a picture that this is as good as it's ever going to get, and I don't necessarily agree with that.
Well, Manfred wants to change the structure of the economics of baseball, which would make it more balanced. But he can't change what the Dodgers get in TV revenue or the Red Sox are getting.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I just happen to think I talk to a lot of baseball people, and I happen to think this market financially is hit as much as it can give financially. I mean, we're, $3.5 million. That's who we are.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they need to build more housing, which is a whole separate problem in San Diego. But if they did, the population here could increase quite a bit.
Okay, we move on. Let's do a couple more here.
Okay, let's go to our friend John. He goes, I can understand the Seidlers looking at what the Padres and San Diego needs and thinking that they don't have what it takes to run the team. Mark Cuban did the same thing when he sold the Mavericks. He doesn't think he should have to navigate them to success any longer and sold them to someone who might be able to. I think the Seidlers came to a similar conclusion and can hopefully get the team into the hands of someone who can get San Diego a championship.
Well, I think the economics played a role here. If they came out and said, Hacksaw, we just don't think a private family can own a franchise in Major League Baseball with all the cost it takes to operate this franchise, with the economics getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They made multiple cash calls 2 years in a row because they needed to be able to pay their bills. That's hard. So, I mean, they have $450 million in debt, I was told. So that's got to be paid off. But you get somebody with deep pockets, an entrepreneur with baseball background, anything is possible. The biggest positive is this market has shown it's a great baseball city now. And it took a winner, and it took Seidler, and it took Preller's creativeness with the talent he stockpiled to prove that point. So,
well, I mean, imagine if John Seidler decided to retain the asset, and we know he's not a baseball guy, doesn't really have a passion, doesn't want to win one for San Diego. He just wants to make money. I wouldn't want him as the owner. I want an owner that's in, that's bought in. Now, whether they dig into their pocket like Peter Seidler did, I mean, that was fantasy land that came true. But you want an owner that's in it, that is committed and is emotionally there with you. So if that's not John Seidler, then fine. Then turn the page, get someone new in here. And, these days, it's a celebrity business.
Yep.
So you're not going to get some bean counter. You're going to hopefully get someone that has a little bit of like flash and, sex appeal to make this an exciting situation.
Well, the man with flash and dollars in his pocket, is he going to buy Miami or Tampa or the Pirates or San Diego? Track record, Padres, Petco Park.
Yeah. Yeah, stone's throw from Hollywood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's keep going, and let's talk a little Dodgers with Bill. He goes, opinion on Fernando Valenzuela for the Hall of Fame. He has remarkably identical numbers to members Jack Morris and Catfish Hunter.
It was a huge argument when Jack Morris was up as to whether he should get in because he pitched so many years, and he was dominant and he was good. But he wasn't overwhelming, but he was there. Same thing with Catfish. Fernando had 9, I think in the course of his career, had 9 really great years. So does that warrant him? He did not have 200 wins. I think it was 177. Pitched a ton of innings. You give him bonus points, though, because he revitalized the culture of baseball vis-a-vis Mexico and the fans and the Hispanics. Does that count into the equation? I don't know. It's going to be a very, very interesting debate.
Oh, he easily should be in. I mean, you talk about like how many he pitched for 9 years.
He had 9 great years.
9. Well, how many great years does Sandy Koufax have? Like 5? And we're not going to say that makes him ineligible for the Hall of Fame. I think Fernando is an easy decision. And all of the Fernando mania and everything went with all the cultural impact that he made.
Bonus points.
Those are bonus points. But I think on his numbers alone, he deserves it. And in my opinion, Jack Morris and Catfish Hunter both deserve it as well. I don't think you need to have the bar to get in to be like impossible or near impossible. Some of these guys, granted, they're borderline cases, but they're all 3 of these pitchers should be in.
Again, it then defines the big question. Cooperstown, the Shrine, is it for the greatness or just for good players too?
Well, guys like Don Sutton, you're talking about Dodgers, I would say he was good but not great. 22
years.
Yeah, he was a longevity guy. There are other players I think of that are good but not great, like, local guy here, David Justice. I think great career, but not Hall of Fame great. There's always going to be some of those guys on the bubble.
Okay. Let's do one more call here before we wrap this up.
One more call. Get those lines lit. Okay, let's see who we have here. And, just a follow-up from Bill. Hey, is Peter O'Malley part of the owner of the Padres?
No. Peter's a great gentleman, one of the really special people in the history of baseball. Very different from his father, Walter. I've read so many books on the history of the Brooklyn Dodgers, and Walter O'Malley was ruthless. Peter O'Malley was cut from a very, very different cloth. And Peter Seidler, who was part of that O'Malley family, he was cut from some of the same cloth as Peter O'Malley. Peter O'Malley, one of the classiest sports entrepreneurs I ever met.
Yeah, I never heard a bad thing said about him.
And again, that's a prime history lesson. Family. Business of baseball got too big for the family, and they elected to step aside. It's no longer a family ownership game.
But now, remember it was owned by Fox Sports for a while, the Dodgers, but now it's the Guggenheim. But is it the same as the Guggenheim building that's in New York City?
I think so.
Or somehow related to that name?
No, I think it is all part of that whole investment
thing. What did the Guggenheims make their money in? It sounds like one of the old robber baron families, like Vanderbilt or something.
You got me.
You ever see the Seinfeld episode where George Costanza says, hey, the Guggenheim? I designed that.
We will close on that.
Okay.
I apologize for the guy from left field. Hey, listen, we hope you enjoy this podcast. We're here Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. I invite you to go check my website. I want you to check it every day. You won't believe the volume of information there. Just go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Share. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe, you'll get the alerts every time we put something in addition up on the YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a 5-star rating. Hit the follow button. It really helps us grow this. We'll be back here Thursday at 1:30. John, take a deep breath. Quit saying stupid things on my podcast. Have yourself a great day. Enjoy Monday Night Football, and we'll catch up to you Thursday.
Raiders, Cowboys. Here we go.
Silver and Bleak on your TV against Jerry's boys. Have yourself a great day. We'll see you come Thursday. Thanks as always for joining us on Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast app.
Touchdown, San Diego!
For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.